Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Om Narayan and you have just started watching my channel English with Om Sir. Today I am going to explain a very important poem, that is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. This poem appears in Flamingo Book of Standard 12th CBSE board. Now I want to tell you all that this poem has a great message. This poem has very important theme, that is of introspection, retrospection and brotherhood. That means unity. So let us start the poem. Poet says, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Poet wants everyone to count 12 and then to keep still, keep quiet, not to move, neither to speak anything. Poet wants us to do that because we have been in rush. It's a mad rush where we all have been rushing and we don't care about ourselves. We don't introspect ourselves. We don't analyze ourselves. We don't examine ourselves. The poet wants us to keep still, sit silently, calmly, and then to self-analyze, self-examine our thoughts and feelings. That is introspection. Further, he wants us to retrospect ourselves also. That means he wants us to examine our work, to review what we did. So this is very important. He says that this will happen for the first time on the earth. It had never been earlier. He wants everyone to sit silently, calmly, without doing anything. For the first time it will happen. He says, we will count 12. 12 refers to the 12 months. 12 refers to the 12 hours shown in the watch. And it can be anything like that. Now the poet wants everyone to count 12 and then to keep quiet. For once on the face of earth, because it has not happened earlier. He says, let us not speak any language, because language create differences. Language create barriers, walls, and that creates difference between people. So he does not want any language to be spoken for the first time on the face of the earth. He wants everyone to stop for a second and not to move. Do you know one thing? We have not been analyzing ourselves. We don't try to find out that what we have achieved in our life by stopping just even for a second. If we sleep, that moment even our mind keeps on tossing on different business and different works we are involved in our day-to-day life. So he wants us to stop for 1 second. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. The poet advocates unity. He says that it would be an exotic moment. It will be for the first time. It will be unusual but interesting. So it will be an exotic moment. There won't be any rush. There won't be any engine on the roads. There won't be any noise. And in that universal calmness and quietness, all the people will come together. They all be doing the same thing at one time. How magical the moment will be. The poet calls it a sudden strangeness, because it's quite true that it had never happened earlier. Nobody had thought like this, being quiet and calm all together. For the first time on the face of the earth, this will happen. That's why he calls it an exotic moment. Unusual, strange, but interesting moment. The next stanza is, fisherman in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Now the poet wants the people who keep on working hard to take some rest, to have some peace and relief in their life. Like salt man. The poet wants the people who hurt whales, they harm nature, these people to stop for a moment. The poet wants these things to be stopped for the first time. And the salt man who gets their hurt hands, they will also have some time to look at their hurt hand. If they will have some time of calm relief, if they will have some time of quietness in their life, if they will stop their work for a moment, and then they will get their hurt hands healed. Okay? And they will start working with new enthusiasm. The poet wants that rest and relief to be taken by the hard workers in their life. Now I start the next stanza. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Now the poet gives an anti-war message. The poet talks about the harm, the destructions caused by war. The poet wants the people who wage war against nature, natural war and chemical wars, to be stopped. And he further suggests that war can never be beneficial, fruitful for anyone. War causes death. These people who keep on killing each other in war, when innocent lives are killed, that victory even cannot be counted. That victory cannot be glorified. When millions of people, innocent people are killed in war, how can somebody call it a victory? So, the poet wants these people not to fight for the first time and then to stand with each other. The enemies on the borders for the first time will be standing together. There will be a strange brotherhood among them. There will be a brotherhood among those people even. They will be standing quiet in no man's land on the borders. Okay? And in the shade they will be sitting, not doing anything at all. The poet further wants to clear it that he doesn't want the people to be inactive. That's why in next stanza he writes, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. He makes it clear that sitting quiet and calm doesn't mean being idle or inactive. He wants people to work, but retrospect their work, but to analyze, but to review what they have done for the first time. Apart from that, he wants everyone to do the same at a single moment. That is unity. A strange brotherhood and unity. Strange because this will happen first time. Okay? What he wants the people to do should not be confused with idleness. It should not be confused with total inactivity. Because life is about activity. Life is about action. Until we are here on the earth, we have to do something. Okay? So, it is not to be confused with inactivity. One should work. But at the same time, one should analyze his work. He said that I want no trouble with death. It is the poet's refusal of death. What kind of death? Death caused by war. Death caused by fear among people. He says he does not want, he has a refusal of death, of such deaths. He has the refusal of inactivity. Understood? Now, further he says, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and the threatening ourselves with death. Poet says that the people should stop rushing madly. People nowadays have become materialistic. So they keep on rushing madly. They keep on gathering things. And in this mad rush, they have forgotten that what are they doing. They don't even step back from their intention of harming others. in this mad rush, they forget to analyze their action. So the poet wants these single-minded people, which we all have become, okay, to stop for a moment, okay, and then to think that what they have been doing. Because if they will stop for a moment, they will start appreciating their achievements, they will be happy in that moment. So he wants at once for the people to do nothing. So he wants the people for once at least not doing anything. And then he says that then the huge silence. Then the huge silence will let them understand that death is something they should not be afraid of. Because being afraid of death, the people keep rushing. They want to achieve more and more in this little time. So they think that they have to die. So before their death, they have to gather more and more. And that's why the madness has started. They have become single-minded. They are afraid of death, and so they want to gather more and more. So the moment they stop and they introspect themselves, the moment they stop and retrospect themselves, they review their work and action, then they have never understood earlier that they should not be threatened of death. They will understand this. Instead of being threatened of their death and being sad, they will be calm, they will be peaceful, and they will welcome whatever the consequence may ahead. And then the poet says in the next stanza, perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. The poet gives reference of the earth. In winter seasons, when the earth seems dead, silent, when you realize that there is no activity, when earth is frozen in winter seasons, in hilly areas, no activity is observed. It seems lifeless, but at the same time, just after months, when the spring season comes, flowers, butterflies, plants, they all give the message of life. So the poet wants that silence, that calmness, that quietness to be maintained for the first time. He says that this earth gives us the message. This earth can teach us that when everything seems dead, there is life behind that. Later it is proved alive. The frozen earth later becomes full of life.
Now I show you the last two lines of the poem. In these two lines, poet tells us to count 12 and he leaves. Because he believes that he has given us the masses to think over. That's why he leaves.
That's it. The poem ends here. And I hope you have understood my explanation. If you like my video, subscribe my channel, share it, and yes, click the bell icon also. So if I upload another video, you will have the notification. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.